So what I'd like to do with you now is to go through using the spheres of Antares in a way that has been really useful to me in everyday life situations. Maybe this is useful to you, but I don't want to give the idea that the spheres of Antares are only about doing work at a high abstract spiritual level. I want to apply them to something that's a challenge in my everyday life. So in this case, I'm thinking about situations that I find myself in, or relationships I find myself in, where there's something that isn't resolved, and something that maybe makes me anxious, maybe something I don't entirely understand. And I can feel that it creates tension and creates a blockage in my life. And I want to do something to transform that. Now, if I'm using logic, I'm going to try to think my way through to some solution. But instead, what I really want to do then is to use the spheres of Antares around this issue, and to let the spheres work to help me come to some deeper resolution about what the issue is. So the way I would normally do this is that I have in mind something that I want to work on. In this case, I'm going to talk about it as a relationship that is unsettled for me, and something that creates a lot of tension in my life. And what I'm going to do is, first, I'm going to focus on that issue. I'm going to focus on that issue so as to bring it to mind and concentrate on it, so that I'm really feeling it. I think about some of the details of it. I think about the feelings that I have. And what I want to do is I want to bring those feelings up to the surface as intensely as I can. I want to bring the focus of the issue up in front of me, as clearly as I can. And so I'm kind of assembling this and visualizing this as something in front of me, something I can observe, something that maybe has some form to it or some elements to it, but it doesn't matter. I put it out in front of me, and I place my hands around that, and I ask for an Antares sphere of oneness to be placed all around this issue and all around me. I ask for an Antares sphere of oneness around all of this. In this case, because there's a person involved, I ask for an Antares sphere of oneness around that person and around me. I ask for an Antares sphere of oneness around us both. I want this Antares sphere of oneness to contain everything that's out of balance, or everything that's in tension between the two of us. And that includes things that I don't really understand. I don't understand why all of this is there, but I have the feeling. And I know that this is holding me back because I feel the tension. So, with all of this assembled, asking for the Antares sphere of oneness to be placed around this person and around these issues, I've made the decision to take this to oneness, and in oneness to find resolution. Dissolve everything that's a separation, dissolve everything that's a barrier between this and oneness. So effectively, I know what I have is a bubble that I am in with this person, and within the reality of this bubble, this limited reality, there's something that isn't working. It's a point of tension. I place the entire sphere around it with the purpose of dissolving this in oneness. And now what I'm going to do is use the other Antares spheres to process this. So I ask for an entire sphere of purity to be placed around this. I ask for an entire sphere of purity to be placed around me and around the person with whom I'm having this issue. I ask for an entire sphere of purity. And I can immediately feel that something about my essential truth emerges. Something about the other person's essential truth emerges. I can feel that asking for purity here helps me and helps my perception of the other person to move into alignment with their true self. So whatever's here, it's with the true self that we're going to proceed. And this is still developing. I can still feel that the entire sphere of purity is working on me and working on the other person, working on all the issues that we seem to have between us. Okay, that's calming down a bit. So I'm going to ask for an entire sphere of balance to be placed around all of this. I ask for an entire sphere of balance around me and around the other person. Entire sphere of balance. Once again, that grows in intensity. And it takes me into a place of balance with myself. Hopefully takes the other person to that place of balance and the whole situation into a place of greater balance. So wherever energy was spinning out of balance, or wherever balance has been lost, it helps to restore that balance. I can feel that moving through me, and I can feel it moving through the whole situation. So I'm ready. I'm now going to ask for an entire sphere of clarity to be placed around this, to be placed around me and placed around the other person. An entire sphere of clarity. An entire sphere of clarity around me, around the other person, and around the situation. And when I do this, I can feel that, whatever the issues are, they shift in meaning and they shift in significance when seen and experienced from a multidimensional perspective. The clarity of a multidimensional perspective takes out the fixation on third-dimensional reality and third-dimensional thinking. And now I'm in a place of, to me, what feels like much greater wholeness with this situation. And something is really shifting right in the core of all of this. Something is shifting in the core of the anxiety. Something is shifting in the core of the relationship, because I can't perceive it in the same way if I'm using the Antares sphere of clarity. It's like a light shining through. And I say I don't necessarily understand what the issue is, but even without intellectual understanding, something is processing, something is liberating me. I want to come to a place of liberation. I want to be in a place of liberation with this. I don't want to be affected by the situation or affected by some anxiety with the other person. I want to be in right relationship. And it feels to me as if the Antares sphere of clarity is really, really having that effect. So I'm ready now to ask for an Antares field of harmony. I ask for an Antares sphere of harmony to be placed around me, the other person, and the whole situation. An Antares sphere of harmony. And at that, whatever separations have been caused, whatever patterns of thinking or feeling were causing separations, whatever has caused the schism here, that's being dissolved away, because the Antares sphere of harmony brings forth what we have in common, the light that we share, being children of the universe with the one divine light, the one divine creator. And that perspective shifts the situation even further. So I think that something has shifted in me, and something has shifted in the relationship. And of course I'm responsible for my part of it. So I shifted in me, and I hope that the benefit of all of this also is transferred to the other person. But I know that my reaction in this is, of course, mine, and now I have taken the steps to see it in a broader context and to experience it as my whole self. So with the Antares sphere of oneness around the situation, around myself, it's been transformed to something else. Okay. Whew. Okay. And this happens not because I just think it should or because I want it to. It happens because the spheres of Antares have these specific influences that undo the bubbles of limitation, that undo the separations, that undo the misthinking and misperceptions, to take me into a place of seeing things from a perspective of oneness. So I hope this is an exercise that maybe can be very helpful to you.